person who represents Englishness to me more than anyone else is George Orwell. He wasn't Jewish, he wasn't Northern, he wasn't like me from the state school, he was privately educated. But every time I read George Orwell today, I still feel that he represents the quintessential decency of Englishness. And that's what I want to get back to. I want to take the debate about Englishness away from the bigots, away from the people who are prejudiced, away from the reactionaries. And I want Englishness to A, be seen as inclusive, B, as diverse, and C, as based on social justice. Northernness is so important to Englishness. You know, without the Industrial Revolution that started in the North, Englishness or Britishness wouldn't have been built up to the powerful political, cultural and economic force that it was. And what I really, really resent, this is the last point, is that at the moment the Northern voice is being excluded from, I believe, the cultural, political and economic centres of power. If you exclude a part of the country that has got such a rich talent and a rich heritage and a great sort of creative contribution, you're actually cutting off your nose to spite your face. You're losing a lot. So, you know, exclude the North at your peril. That's what I'd say.
I asked a few people at work, what does it mean to you to be English? And they came back with a whole variety of issues, and some of them you will have heard, and some are sense of humour, the royal family, food, traditions, a sense of history, queuing, stiff upper lip. None of them mean anything to me particularly, and none of them, I feel, are essentially English. You can go to many different countries and cultures and find elements of all or some of those traits within peoples. So it's not enough to really just say that's what makes me English, because that's not what makes me English. What's made me English is the fact that we are a transient population. We've always had people come into England. We've always had people settle here. We are, despite what you might read, despite the far right, we are I think one of the most welcoming of nations in relation to diversity. And Manchester in particular has managed that particularly well, so that people do live not only side by side but integrated with each other as and when they should and when they choose to.
So I think a good question to ask is, why didn't we talk about Englishness for quite a long time, and why have we started to talk about it more now? And I think in the long view, we didn't talk about it because it was pretty secure and it was pretty dominant, and so maybe you needed to assert your Welsh or your Scottish identity, but the English felt more secure than that. And actually, if England was threatened, the threat was to Britain as a whole. Actually, think about the House of Commons in 1940 and the Norway debate. Someone shouts at Clement Attlee, "Speak for England." It's about the Second World War. It's Britain that's going to fight the war. It's Britain that builds the welfare state. So England's interest, democracy, welfare and so on, the interests of England, the change in class composition, that's all happening in a British kind of context. And so we don't talk about Englishness, but now actually we do. And I think it's because Englishness feels less secure, more threatened, there's more difference around. And it's from a lot of different sources. I think there's immigration, multi-ethnic, multi-faith society, I think, has challenged people's idea of who they are. I think Britishness has changed. You've got devolution in Scotland and Wales. I think Europe has a big impact on this.